Hi, this access tutorial of payroll management system I developed earlier. So let me show you guys how this works. Okay, with all of this information here and there, I've already saved that onto the database right here. Okay, that is it for Wally Williams. All of this information are there. Okay, so let's supposing we want to carry out some maybe adjustment to the wages, so we can just come right in here and maybe increase the wages to about that a week and the weekly weightings. What about the overtime? So we're going to have to carry out deductions there and maybe validate the tax code here to about that, right? Which means we need to change this as well. So if I click on save record, take note, let me first of all show you guys what's in there. Can you see that? So if I come in here and say save record and go straight in onto the table, and that is it. You can see the validation has taken place. Okay, all right guys, so what I'm going to do now is maybe we can also add new staff members details, and still working for Omen Aviations, and enter his London weight in there and wages per week and overtime. Let's say it's put in about £18 worth of overtime, and here just enter the weekly whatever tax period, tax code, national insurance number, NI code, taxable and pensionable. Alright, so all we just need to do now is click on total. Once you click on total, and we can even add some recommendation in here. So let's say for period 7, and okay, save that, and let's validate the whole information on the database itself, and let's see, that is Peter Moore. That's it right there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now guys is take you guys straight into access development environment, and we put one of these together. So let's do that now. Hi and welcome to Microsoft Access tutorial of payroll management system. Yeah, it's going to be developed using forms and so on. So let's start by clicking on the blank database and call that payroll. Alright, so click on create. There we go. So let's click on design. Now I'm going to give that call it payroll. Now the first field in there is going to be, let's refer to it as reference number, and it's going to be followed by, let's go for maybe employer's name, then we have employee name. Okay, so I'm going to just speed that up, and there we go guys. This is how it all looks like. Right, so I've just shown you how to start it for those of you who don't know how to start that. Okay, those are all the components that we have on board. So if I double click on the payroll itself, there we go guys. Let's collapse that, and that's what you get. Alright, okay, as you can see, the table is not populated yet. So to take care of that, I'm going to be using form. So let's click on create, In there, I'm going to select this menu right there, form design, and let's right click on the form design and select properties. Okay, right in here, let's change the back color or the background color, make it a little bit so I think that's fine, and let me change the height to approximately 18, and the width I can just drag that anyway. Let's collapse this. Okay, how about that? Now let me save this form first. I'm going to call it payroll. There. Now let's come into, we need to find out where the data are, so let's select here on the form and we come into the data. Okay, make sure you select here, you see up there. Let me close it again so that you guys see it. You must select up here, but if you right click, then you have to select the form properties to get the data source. If you don't want to right click, make sure this is selected, then you still have to right click. Anyway, the data source that I intend to use is from this table called payroll. Okay, now I've selected the table called payroll that I created earlier. You guys can see the table here. That's the table, and that's the form that I saved. Now that the data source is selected, I will now go to add existing fields right in here. Okay, click on that. Those are the existing fields, okay, that I intend to add. But the other thing is, I like to design my interface the way I want. Okay, first thing first, before adding this existing field, let me design or modify my interface. I think this is label. Enter a label there, and that very label I'm just going to call it payroll. Let's say management systems. Okay, let's select that. I think that should have a property as well. Okay, let's see the property. Okay, let's just select the property of that. Right, let's look for the size, font size. Let's see, 48. Maybe that is too large, maybe not. Okay, I can always reduce it anyway. Now let's see the back color. Back color is background 1. Let's see, that means we can change this to whatever color we want. Right, so I'm going to press undo, select that. Okay, as a group box, let's see here, that's a group box. Alright, let's draw a group box there. I don't want any of those, so I'm just going to delete that. This is my group box, and inside my group box I'm going to enter some content in there. For now, let's collapse that. Yeah, I'm going to have to add some data into it. Alright, so let's come into add existing field right there. The field I intend to add in there would be, let's go for the reference. I want the reference number right in that box. Alright, this is how it's looking now. Let me see if I can, one way or the other. Alright, so let's continue with the design of the interface. Or maybe I should just speed that up because it's taking some time. Yeah, let's speed that up. So to speed it up, you see all of these existing fields here. I'm going to add them onto the form. So just to save time, I'm going to have to do it speed it all up. So far guys, this is how it looks. Let me just run it so that you see how the form looks like. This is how the form is looking right now, but we still have more work to do. So the next thing I want to do now is, let's move this aside. Okay, then the other thing is, alright, you see, add existing field. That is where all the fields are. The next field I intend to select is tax, pension, student loan, and national insurance. Drag that and just drop it here. So I will now modify this and just get back to you guys. Okay, this is how it's looking right now, and I've also added the following: gross pay, deductions, and net pay. So I might as well just select those components, and let's come to format here, because you can just format it here. Let's change that to 18, and I think I should do that for all of these ones anyway. Let's change it to black. Right. Okay, so if I run it now, come here and run it, let's see, this is how it's looking. Yeah, that's how it's looking now. So I just need to add the rest data in here and get back to you guys. Maybe let's go back to design. Now back on the design, back on the form, let's go to the design itself. That's the design. Let's come straight to add existing fields. The other fields I intend to add will be payday, that's good, and I need taxable pay and pensionable pay. Right, I also need, I think I'm going to need recommendation. Let's move this one up here, and I'm going to need recommendation. Let's see if I can get hold of the properties of this very one here. If I can get hold of the property, I might be able to change it here. Or maybe let's save everything first. Come straight in here and close this. Make sure it's saved. Close that as well. Let's go to the table and the design here. Let's come down here. Recommendation, there we go. You can see it's long text, so in that case I can always change this. You see, text format, instead of plain text I want to change that to rich text. Rich text, yeah, it's now rich text. Okay, so you guys should be able to do that as well. Alright, let me go back to my form. I'm gonna have to close that. Go back to the form. It's now a rich text box. You can see that. Okay, so all I just need to do now is to format this, make sure it's well positioned, and get rid of this. I thought I got rid of it before. Then before we can start with the whole coding, so let me get rid of this again. There we go. And one other thing, I'm going to need some buttons, which you guys will, I'll show you guys when I'm adding the buttons anyway. So let me just modify this and I'll come back to you guys. Okay guys, this is how the interface is looking now. Let me just run it for you guys to see. That's how it's looking now. So like I said earlier on, we now need to add buttons. I'm going to add those ones here. So let's come down here. Go back to the design view, and right here, you see right up here. Okay, if you don't have this menu, it's right here inside design. Okay, come to the design, and I need buttons. That's the button right there. I'm gonna click on that and just paste it here. Okay, now this command button wizard pops up. The first one I want is, I don't want to navigate. Okay, let's say I want to save whatever I've done. Okay, all you just need to do is click on next. Some of it I'm going to be using macro, and some I'll be using programming. So let's select save records. I don't have any pictures, so I'm going to leave it as save records, and let's click on next. So let's give that a name. I'm going to call it BTN save. Yeah, and just click on finish. You see, that's the name that I picked, save record. That's that there. So that means whatever data I enter in here will be automatically saved onto the table. Now let's add another button. Okay, this very button, let's say that one is going to be for, let's look for form operation, close the form. Okay, close the form. In the case of this very one, I'm going to make some adjustments. So I'm going to change that to exit, or maybe we can just leave it as close the form. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And the name is going to be BTN exit, and click on finish. Move it up a little bit there. Okay, with this button selected, this very one, because I want to, if I run it, I can just close the form just like that. If I click on it there, see, it's asking me to save whatever I've done. Yes, saved. Okay, but it did not ask me if I really want to exit. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. If I click on save now, you see that is gone. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will have to select this very button. Let's go back in there and come to design view. I will select that very button, come to the property, okay, property sheet there. Okay, now let's go to the event. That's the event. The button is actually using an embedded macro. I don't want you to use an embedded macro. I will change that. That is where the coding comes in. Okay, I change it to event procedure. Once you select the event procedure, you can then click on this button with 3 dots. Okay, and that brings you to the coding area. So I'm going to declare as follows: dim I exit as Visual Basic VB message box result there. Now I exit equals message box, enter speech mark, and in there just enter confirm if you want to exit. Okay, confirm if you want to exit. Close that, enter a comma there, and let's put VB, another VB inbuilt function, which is question, and plus VB yes no. Okay, that will generate yes and no for me. And here let me just enter payroll system. That's the name of my program, and close that. I will now use if statement to determine the selection made. If I exit equals VB yes, then what I want the system to do is, I think the way exit is done here is totally different. Do command dot close. Yeah, do command dot close as form, this one. Okay, comma me dot name. It's totally different method. Then we just need to say end if. That's all. So have a good look at these very lines of code if you are interested in things like that. Okay, so I'm now going to come in here come up here, form, click on close form. You see that, guys? No, so we are not going to close. Yes. Okay, save whatever I've done. Yeah, because it has to be saved. So let's come back in there now. Okay, close. No, close. Yes. All right, so that is how you write your exit command. Now let's come back in here. Okay, I think the other thing I'm going to have to do now is, you see this, I may have to move it up. Yeah, let me move it up. Okay, this is how it looks now, so I'm just going to run it and let's see. Yeah, that's how the whole system looks. I think with that I'm going to call it the end of the first part of this tutorial. See you guys in the second part.